Hi everyone, I'm Linsey Davis. Welcome to All Access. We are talking to the New York Times bestselling author with one of the world's most popular podcasts, Mel Robbins.
Welcome to the Mel Robbins podcast. You can improve your life and your relationships.
Her sage advice has made her a trusted voice in behavioral change, mindset, and life improvement.
Oh my gosh, wait to hear this. Is there some tough love you can give yourself? That's how incredible what you're about to learn is going to be.
In less than a year, her latest book, The Let Them Theory, has sold more than 8 million copies, landing her at #1 on nearly every bestsellers list. Mel Robbins, so great to have you with us.
Linsey Davis, I'm so excited to be here.
What a pleasure. The book, when you talk about, I'm a people pleaser, I'm a fixer, I need to have control, I force people to match my own expectations. I thought, she knows me. But then you talked about how people can only meet you as well as they've ever met themselves, and how people typically don't do the work, right? Yeah. And so from your son Oakley going to the prom, you'd already had 2 older daughters who went to prom, but you learn about the let them theory from Oakley.
Yes, okay.
Explain that.
So first of all, I should just preface this by saying, I wish I had known this earlier. Like, I made my life so much more stressful and frustrating than it needed to be because I thought the secret to happiness, Linsey, was change everyone around you, control everything. As long as everybody's matching your expectations, you're going to have the best life. It actually backfires. It's a dumb story, but this is what happened, and most people can relate to it because you are either the villain in the story, which is me, or you have to deal with somebody like me. We are at a high school dance, and I am your typical mom. I want everything to go just right. You know, I'm all worked up about it, the bow tie, and I've bought a corsage for his date, even though he told me she doesn't want a corsage. I am just absolutely determined, Linsey, to get the holiday photo with the family while he's in the... You could feel this, can't you?
Yes.
Everybody's had this moment. And I am micromanaging everything. I'm super irritating. I'm trying to organize the family. And my daughter, who is home, she had these long, fake almond-shaped nails. She grabs my bicep and she squeezes it hard. And I think it was the pinching of the bicep and her gritting her teeth and going, Mom, you're being annoying. Let him do what he wants. Let her not take the corsage. Let them do that. And she just kept going, let them, let them, let them. And it was like this earworm in a song. And you know that saying? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. Somehow in that moment, Stoicism, Buddhism, the Serenity Prayer, detachment theory came through my daughter's mouth and into my brain, and I was like, why do I care about this? Why not just let them? And so that was the first moment those 2 words personally had a profound impact on me. And here's what happened next. For the next week, every single time I was stressed out, I would just say, let them. Whether you're in traffic and somebody cuts you off, or, you know, you've got the close talker or the slow walker, or somebody, you know, is annoying, because people are super annoying. You're just going to say, let them. And you're going to notice that 99% of your stress is actually other people. And there's a different way to go about life. You can stop trying to judge, control, and change other people. You're never going to be able to. And you can learn to just let people be who they are. Let them have their opinions, their behavior, their expectations. And suddenly, your life gets so much easier because you're not allowing modern life, whether it's the headlines or AI that's coming or all these things that are out of your control.
Sure.
You're not allowing it to occupy too much space up here, and you're not allowing life to feel like death by 1,000 cuts. It's how you protect yourself. It helps you focus on what's in your control, and there's very few things in your control. And to really live your life in a way where you are operating based on your values and based on the things that matter to you versus constantly allowing stress and other people's expectations to dominate your life. It's unbelievable how powerful this thing is.
So for people who are new and haven't read the book and not familiar with the theory yet, This might make sense for strangers. I mean, in the book, you talk about the woman who's at the cash register taking forever, you know, while everybody's
You're standing in a line.
Correct.
You're like, oh my God.
We can all understand that. But what about for a strained relationship with a family member? How do you differentiate between the two?
This is a tool for everybody. And so let's take the situation where you have a challenging person in your life. Typically, we are related to these people, right? That's one reason we have families, so that you can learn how to love people you hate sometimes. It's also why we get married. It teaches you that skill. And rule number one, no human being changes until they're ready to change for themselves. And so all of your desire and hope that your dad or your mom or your mother-in-law or your brother, all the hope that you have that they're going to change, that is wasted energy. These people have been the same person since you have known them. And so the best philosophy with a challenging person is to just say, let them be narcissistic. Let them be selfish. Let them be annoying. Let them be disappointed. Let them. Particularly if you're dealing with somebody who's not only challenging, but they're disrespectful or discriminatory. First of all, you're not allowing them to be disrespectful. There's something more powerful happening when you say let them. You are forcing yourself to recognize who you're dealing with. See, people are not confusing, Lindsay. People's behavior is very black and white. Their patterns are very consistent. How somebody treats you is how they feel about you right now. Let them. And now let me ask myself, given that this is who this person is, what are my values? How much time do I want to spend with this person? What do I want to think about this relationship? What do I want to do or not do? And how am I going to process the emotions when this idiot says something that really stresses me out at the dining room table? And if you know that you're going to be going to the holidays with somebody that's very challenging, just say to yourself, okay, let them be who they're going to be. They're always like this. It is so much more powerful to just be like, let them. And then let me choose how I'm going to respond.
And so you brought it up there, but explain, just to underscore, it's not just let them.
No.
It's also let me.
So there's two parts to this. The first part is if you're stressed out, frustrated, hurt, disappointed, any emotion in the world, just say to yourself, let them. And you're going to notice it's 99% of the time, either somebody's done something or has annoyed you, or you're afraid of what's going to happen. Then you do the second part and you say, let me remind myself there's only three things in life I can control. I can control what I think about this. I can control what I do or don't do. And I can control the response to the emotions that I feel. That's it. That's all you have. And so the let them part is the part everybody loves. Because, for example, if you see your best friends going out and going away for the weekend and they left you out, that hurts. That's a normal response to being left out, to feel sad, to feel cast aside, to be a little angry. It's not a problem that you feel hurt. The problem is that when you feel hurt, you then start judging them. You then start judging yourself, and there's an easier way to deal with the situation. You just say, let them go away. Let them have friendships where they don't include me. And then you say, well, let me take a step back and let me ask myself, well, do I value friendship? Let me look in the mirror. When's the last time I asked any of these women out to dinner? When's the last time I called them? When's the last time I invited anybody to do anything? I've been sitting here so busy at work expecting everybody else to create my social life, and now I'm being judgy of people that are living their lives. If I care that deeply about friendship, let me make the effort and create it. Because the funny thing is you're hurt because you like these people. But we then expect to be included. And it's our expectations about what we think other people should be doing that's creating problems in your relationships. You know, one of the things that I've loved about seeing so many families and mother-daughters and sons and fathers and colleagues passing this book around is I wrote this with my 25-year-old daughter. And it would not be the book that it is if we hadn't written it together.
What made you decide to write the book with Sawyer?
So Soy had worked for a big cybersecurity firm and then followed a dream to go backpacking internationally alone. This is a mother's worst nightmare, by the way. And when she came home, she was broke. So she moved in with mom and dad. And I saw an opportunity, and I said, I'm working on this project. I'd written the first draft, and it was just let them, no let me. And I said, there's something wrong with the book. The book sucks. And I need somebody to do some research, and I'm going to hire somebody, and you need money. So I thought, Linsey, that it would take her 4 weeks. 36 hours later, she produced a 28-page spreadsheet, like engineering mind, color-coded, drop-down tabs, all this source stuff. And she's like, Mom, you can't write the book. Like, you can't leave people in this, like, moment of acceptance. There has to be a second part. And I'm like, you're right. What's the second part? She's like, well, obviously, it's let me. Because once you stop giving your power to all of these other people and you take it back, you got to teach people what to do with it. And so I was like, you're right. And then we were in. And we spent every day for 11 months, I do not recommend this, living together, working together. We would argue about everything because she's like, I don't understand this. Nobody my age is going to like this. We needed to, and I'd be like, you're wrong. And we were using let them and let me with each other. And Linsey, oh my God, like it just like healed our relationship. Like we created this ability to really see each other. Loving somebody means accepting somebody as they are and as they're not. And it doesn't mean stepping aside, it means stepping beside them and being there as a support for when they're ready to change or they're ready to do, something. And, some interesting things happen. Like I also feel I'm a deeply spiritual person, that this is just what the world needed to be reminded of at this moment in time. That there are things you can control, even when the world is out of control. That even when things feel so dark, that the change does not come from like high up there, it comes from within here, and it begins in our homes and in our relationships and in our living rooms, and it ripples out through your family. Like you just can't gaslight yourself into believing that there's nothing you can do if there's something wrong in the world or in your community or in your family. There is always something you can do, and it deeply matters that you recognize that.
Still to come, what do you think is the most useful tip, tool, advice that you could have benefited from at 25? I wanted to go back to just how meaningful it was that you're saying your relationship, how it was healing really for you and Sawyer to do it together. And I think that as a reader, we see the dynamics of, you're talking about kind of having friends when you were in college and she's talking about it at her time. If you were to go back to the 25-year-old.
Oh my God. Peak dysfunction, Mel Robbins. My God.
What do you think is the most useful tip, tool, advice that you could have benefited from at 25?
At 25, I was struggling with undiagnosed dyslexia, undiagnosed anxiety. I had no idea that there were some things that had happened in my childhood that had really impacted me. Nothing with mom and dad. Mom and dad, I love you. And I think we all have stuff like that. And if we go back to 25, and that's 32 years ago, you wouldn't be caught dead walking into a self-help bookstore. Nobody talked to a therapist. There was no YouTube. There was no social media. News programs were not covering topics like this. You suffered alone. And you didn't even know that there were things that could explain why you had trouble focusing, or why you had trouble because you were drinking too much, or why you had such self-criticism that you couldn't seem to get rid of. And so I guess what I would tell myself, I think honestly the let them theory would be the most helpful, and here's why. When you're really struggling, you not only have a very internal dialogue that beats you down, but as you look out at the world, you don't want anyone to know that. And so you navigate your life based on what you think will make people like you. You make decisions in order not to disappoint people. You constantly question yourself because you're actually afraid of what other people are going to think about you. And so when you start to say, let them, it forces you to recognize a truth that you can't control what other people are going to think about you. Let them misunderstand you, let them question you, let them gossip about you, because they're going to do it anyway.
Give us a sense of how you got here. Little Mel growing up, I know obviously you wanted to be a lawyer at some point, right? Because you went through the paces of that, but then you become a legal analyst, a life coach, a radio host, a podcast,
I've had like 29 career changes.
Right. And so what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Well, you know, my mom and dad were very seminal in terms of making me see how important it is to care about other people and be interested in other people. I grew up in a very small town in the Midwest. They took the time to talk to other people. They were engaged in the community, and it just made an impression on me. And the other thing that made a huge impression on me was being a public defender here in New York City. And when you're a new public defender, you tend to get your clients at arraignment. And part of arraignment, when somebody has been arrested and they've been assigned an attorney and you're going to be read your rights and assigned an attorney and there's going to be a bail hearing, is ties to the community. And so I think I just knew that I wanted to do something that would impact other people. And a lot of the career changes that I was making, jumping from one thing to another, I can look backwards and go, oh, I was collecting all the skills that I need in every one. At the time, it made no sense at all. But I was just searching. I think there are some people that are born into this world and you're like, I'm going to be a singer. I'm going to be a doctor. And I don't even know how to explain it. I just know that I wanted to help. I wanted to do something useful. I'm a deeply intellectually curious person, but I think that's born mostly out of trying to figure out how to climb out of the holes I've dug for myself. And I always joke, Lindsay, that the things that I share, I don't consider myself an expert. I consider myself a really good friend who's gone through a lot and is on a walk with you. And as you're going through something, I'm like, hey, you know, I went through that with my son. And, you know, this is what I learned about that. Now here we are.
Your podcast has been so successful. And one thing that I found in the Let Them theory is that you're very vulnerable. You're very authentic. You tell us in a very honest way. You were the villain in this situation.
I'm the villain in the book, everybody.
And I'm just curious, because a lot of people actually set out to be, as we were talking about from birth, like, I want to be a self-help guru, right?
Yeah, I don't want to be
that. But they don't have the success, they don't get the traction. Do you have an idea of what that is?
I think that I am maniacally focused on being useful. I don't care about being the smartest person in the room. I would so much rather have been useful and to have made a positive difference with somebody than to be smart or wealthy or any of those things that a lot of people seem to chase. You know, for me, I think the secret sauce is I am an incredibly intentional person. And for me, as somebody that spent a lot of her life lying and people-pleasing and saying yes when I really wanted to say no, and staying in a relationship too long or staying in a job too long because I was afraid to upset everybody, I will tell you, it is so much easier to just be honest about who you are, what you've struggled with, and what you will find is that if you're doing it with a intention of connecting with people or helping people or just not allowing the things that used to weigh you down anymore, because, you know, if you're feeling ashamed because you're depressed and you're not telling anybody, that's a very common thing. I know this because my husband struggled with depression after his restaurant business failed. And we were $800,000 in debt. The liens hit the house. When he finally got out of that business, he was a shell of himself. And he silently struggled in the sink next to me. Every single morning, the man could not look himself in the mirror because he felt that he had failed as a father, as a husband. He felt that he had failed as a business person and a provider. He had lost people's money, and he couldn't look himself in the eye. He never told me that. For 5 years, this was going on. And when you silently hold that on your own, the weight of that and the judgment of yourself that comes from the silence can be excruciating. The second you find the courage to tell somebody, you free yourself of that judgment that you have of yourself, because you have found the courage to say, I need some help. I can't look in the mirror. I still can't forgive myself for all those things. And so when I decided that I was going to start this podcast, the whole vision was, how cool would it be if we could have the world's leading thinkers and professors and scientists get on an e-bike or hop on a plane and come to our studios, and we would create a show that was free, and it was produced in a way where it's not two people who are smarter than you, where you get to eavesdrop. That's not what our show is. Our show, the entire intention is a walk with a friend. And every time you take a walk with a friend, how do you feel when you're done?
Better.
Yeah, and you typically have something to do. A movie to watch, a book to read, a therapist to call, some sort of mindset reframe, and you also feel encouraged. And if you are going to make time that you don't have to spend it on a walk with me, I am going to obsess over the fact that this better be worth your time. The coolest thing that has happened with this podcast is that it has grown over the last 3 years in the dark. It has grown one listener, one person at a time. You know, we were just named by Apple the most followed show. And we had the most shared episode in the world. And we are the second most shared show of the entire year. And what that tells me is it tells me that the person who had no time and spent it listening not only got something for themselves, it was so good, they shared it with somebody else.
And they're coming back for the next one.
Maybe.
Too.
Every topic we cover will be around forever, because it's every topic that relates to life. With experts or super cool people that have really interesting stories. Like, in order for you to be on my show, you have to be able to be relatable and make a difference to a nurse or a teacher. Like, there are things you can do that will make your life feel a little better, and by God, you should, because the time's going to pass anyway.
The time passed way too quickly. As you say, I still had so much more. We'll go for a walk next time.
Yes,
and
yes.
Mel, thank you.
Oh,
thank you
thank
so much.
you for
What a
everything you
pleasure.
do.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.